and we will not fail.
So I just came from watching The 688. It's a film on Netflix released December 20th. This is going to be a non-spoiler review of this film. The film stars Kerry Washington, Ebony Obsidian, Mila Jackson, very many women. The film is mostly women. And the premise of the film is that there's this battalion of all black women deployed in Europe during World War II, and they're charged with the task of sorting out some mail. Basically, because mail at that time was super important because it was how soldiers stayed in touch with their family and their loved ones, and that's how the morale during the war, that's how it was maintained high. Now, here's the thing. This film is obviously a very Netflix film because Netflix is obviously very, very passionate. Let me use the word passionate about films with black leads and films with a strong black woman. And there's no problem with this. It's fine. As long as you have a decent story and it's entertaining, you go ahead and make your story about a strong black woman. When I saw that the director was Tyler Perry, I was like,
oh man, oh God, oh man, oh God, oh man.
I do not like Tyler Perry movies. I know they're not geared towards me, but damn. I remember watching Mea Culpa this year on Netflix, also directed by Tyler Perry. Ooh la la, that was a huge waste of time. I reviewed it on this channel. So of course when I saw Tyler Perry is directing this, I was like, yikes. But I was like, fine. I mean, he can't keep making all shitty films. He has to make at least one good one. Now, this film has three main problems. Let me start with the negatives first. Three main problems. Number one, the main character. A small synopsis is that she has a boyfriend, the guy deploys to war, and then in the war he dies, so she decides to also enlist for the army. This chick, ooh la la, her name is Lena. That character is known as Lena. Lena is a decent main character, but she's also pretty passive. There are times when she's being like verbally bullied by other people and she decides to stand up for herself. So you see some character in there. But as soon as she enlists for the war and she's in the war, or she's in the army, let me say, Kerry Washington's character just takes over. And Kerry Washington now becomes the main character. Maybe I'm the only one who felt this way. The film still does some work with Lena as a character, but Kerry Washington's character just completely takes over. Captain Adams, played by Kerry Washington, I'm pretty sure you're going to say that was the highlight of the film, simply because somewhere like 40 minutes into the movie, Kerry Washington sort of becomes the main character and the spotlight is on her and it's very hard to take it back to Lena. That was one of my major issues, is I felt Lena was so in the background because Kerry Washington is such a strong presence, and I get it. Probably in the story, because this is a real life thing. I didn't even know anything about the 688. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that such a group ever existed ever. So probably the character of Kerry Washington, Captain Adams, is a very strong and important character. So fine, I get it. You had to put Kerry Washington in there, but she kind of overshadows the main character. Number two has to do with the fact that this film is so heavy-handed with its messaging. I get it, that it is taking place during that era where racism, sexism, bigotry was a huge thing. But the movie just slaps you multiple times with this message. Like, I get it, fine, I get it. White man bad, I get it. You don't have to keep slapping me with the message. The theme happens over and over and over and over. Give it a bit of subtlety. It doesn't have to be so much in your face. And I guess that's just Tyler Perry. That's the way he handles his films, especially when he's talking about black women. He has to put the messaging so in your face. It can't just be subtle. Films offer a form of escapism, and I feel like when Tyler Perry does this, he just pulls me out of the film. In fact, the film is actually close to a documentary. It's not a documentary, but it feels sometimes like a documentary. However, it's not. So for those of you who might dislike the film because of historical inaccuracies, I personally don't mind. I don't expect it to be fully accurate, especially if it's a film. If it's a documentary, I expect it to be fully accurate if it's a documentary. But if it's a film, it's okay to have a couple of things here and there that it gets wrong or right or whatever. The last thing is the story is not that dense. I can summarize this movie in like 6 sentences. Yeah, a girl has a boyfriend. The boyfriend goes off to war and dies. She enlists. They are told to sort some letters. Kerry Washington stands up to some white people. They deliver the letters, and we all have a happy ending. Like that's how the movie mostly is. The story is not that deep or detailed for a movie that's, I don't know, 1 hour 50 minutes. Quite a long film. 127 minutes. That's nearly 2 hours. Yeah, as in if you remove credits, 1 hour 50 probably. It doesn't feel like the story should have been that long and that padded out. The film also emphasizes the importance of letters. I don't know if it's not as epic as the film is trying to make it. I get that letters are important correspondence for your loved ones when you're in war, but I feel like if you wanted to make a story about a strong woman, you could have found something better than the letters angle. But fine, maybe the film is just being made to tell the story of these ladies, because I personally didn't know anything about the 6888. Anyway, some positives. I liked the acting. I mean, you have Kerry Washington in there. She's pretty good. Pacing for a film that is pretty long, I thought it was decent. I didn't get bored, and me, I can get bored very quickly. There are some scenes with Kerry Washington's character that had really good payoff, emotional payoff, that is. I don't want to mention them. It would be spoilers, but I liked there are some scenes where Kerry Washington's character really gets, let me say, her flowers. She gets her flowers, and I found it to be really nice. Also, the main character, though the main character gets like one scene. Kerry Washington, I think she got like 3 really nice scenes, and there's a love story in there. So for those of you who might be like, it's a story about a strong woman that don't need no man, this film doesn't have any real like man hate. The story is happening in a time where there was a lot of racism and sexism, so you can see the parts where the ladies have to stand up to the men, but it's never really anything outrightly offensive like some other things I've seen. Out of 10, I'd give this movie a 6. A 6 out of 10. I didn't dislike it. It's based off of something that really happened in real life. It's watchable. If someone who didn't even know about the 6888 watched it, I think they'd like it. I think it's decent. Compared to the other stuff I've seen Tyler Perry make, I think this is decent. Give me your thoughts about the 6888. Netflix, nowadays, the amount of films I see about with a strong black lead or a strong woman, there's so many of them, but that's just Netflix. Queen Cleopatra was black. That's what they tried to push to you. Yeah. The 6888 is not a documentary. Queen Cleopatra was trying to be a documentary, so I'm more lenient on this one than I am on Queen Cleopatra. On this screen, I'll leave other reviews I've done. Thanks so much for watching this. I'll see you in the next one.